Hi everybody, thank you so much for watching my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you my experience being pregnant during the COVID-19 pandemic. The reason why I wanted to make a video like this was because whenever I was pregnant, I was looking for videos just like this to help me manage my pregnancy through COVID. Unfortunately, because COVID is such an unknown virus and things were happening so fast, I literally couldn't find any information about COVID-19 and how it would affect my pregnancy. So hopefully you can take away some great information and tips and tricks on how to manage your pregnancy during a pandemic. So without further ado, let's get to the video. Let's get started with my very first trimester. So my trimester started from the month of October to December, and at that point, COVID wasn't really hot. The reported cases that were in China, they actually diagnosed them as pneumonia, and they weren't really making their way on this side of the planet yet, so it didn't really affect anything major during my pregnancy. I was able to keep going to my prenatal appointments and to my diagnostic imaging appointments with my husband, and everything went about without a glitch. So at this point, all is well, all is good, and we are in normalcy. Because COVID-19 is such a new virus and information about it seems to be coming out daily, this brings me to tip number one, and that is to get your information about COVID-19 from reliable sources. Those reliable sources would be the World Health Organization, your local, state, provincial, and federal health agencies, departments, and organizations, as well as the health provider following you throughout your pregnancy. So if ever you did have any questions about COVID-19 and how it would affect your pregnancy, considering your own personal health history, I would definitely suggest you to reach out to your health provider, your general practitioner, your family doctor, or whoever's actually following you throughout your pregnancy. Let them know about your concerns. They are probably the ones that have the most up-to-date and the most factual information about COVID and what's going on that front. You really want to stay away from any media source outlet that kind of like to sensationalize COVID to get a negative reaction out of you. Some, emotions like anger and stress and overwhelmness is things for you to avoid. And some headlines thrive to have that kind of reaction out of you, especially during your pregnancy. You want to be as cool, calm, collected as possible. So try to stay away from those type of news. Also, I would definitely stay away from any quick fix remedies that are out there, like herbal teas, other type of medication, or bleach. Guys, please do not ingest bleach. Please do not ingest bleach. At this moment, there are currently no cures for the coronavirus. If you have any concerns or if you've heard anything in the news and you had questions about them, please feel free to reach out to your health provider. As you've heard probably 100 million times over the news, there are many different things that you can do to help prevent the spread of COVID-19. These things include staying at home, social distancing, wearing a mask, washing your hands, staying in your social circle, and relying on reliable sources to get information about COVID. And these things are all meant to help prevent you from actually contracting the virus and potentially harming you yourself or the baby. All right, now that we're done the first trimester, let's move on to the second. So the second trimester covered the months of January, February, and March. And we all know that 2020 has been quite awful. When I tell you that 2020 stank, 2020 has been garbage. Literally, other than having my son and purchasing my home, she was a tough one. But you know what? Let's not do that. Let's try to put out some positivity in the world. So I want to know from you guys, what happened in 2020 that actually made you happy? Or anything that you would like to manifest in 2020 since the year is not over and done yet and we still have time to turn this shit around. I want to hear about promotions, car purchases, house purchases, babies, weddings, graduation, new job. So comment down below. I would love to hear all the successes for year 2020 and all the successes to come for year 2020. And now back to our regular program. So at that point in my pregnancy, especially towards the end of my second trimester, that's when things really started to change. As soon as the World Health Organization had declared COVID-19 as a global pandemic, it seemed like everything literally shut down overnight. And at that point, that's when I saw the biggest changes to my pregnancy in the course of my pregnancy. And about February and March. Even though there were a lot of changes that happened during my pregnancy because of COVID-19, there are some things that actually were an advantage that I didn't expect to be an advantage, but really helped me throughout my pregnancy. I was able to work from home for the remainder of my pregnancy, which definitely helped me, and some of the pains that I was having because of my belly growing or because of my hips getting wider and preparing for childbirth. Being able to work from home definitely helped alleviate some of those pains. Another thing that was super advantageous was the fact that I didn't have to commute to go to work anymore. No more buses, no more trains. I got to literally get out of bed, shower, get dressed, and then do my Zoom meetings in my kitchen. Another good thing that came out of my pregnancy during COVID-19 was the fact that I actually did not buy a single maternity outfit. I was able to literally stretch out my normal clothes to fit me until the end. And I actually pat myself in the back for that. Even though my t-shirt had become crop tops and I literally lived in sweatpants forever, I didn't indulge in those very expensive maternity dresses or maternity clothing. I actually didn't need because I ended up being just fine wearing my husband's clothes. Oh, and another thing, being able to vomit at home and not in public. Super. Another advantage of the COVID-19 pandemic during my pregnancy was actually the fact that I got to spend more time with my husband. Because I was so stressed out and I didn't know how this virus could affect my health or the baby's health, having him be present 24/7 and having his support meant the absolute world to me. Even though there were some perks from being pregnant during COVID, the bad definitely outweighed the good. I was really stressed. I was very anxious and depressed during this COVID pandemic. I didn't realize how much it would take a toll on me mentally. Other than medical appointments and walks around the block, I never left my house, and that really took a toll on my mental health. I felt trapped. I felt like I was in prison. I felt alone. I felt cheated from a pregnancy experience that I was expected to be wonderful was, stolen from me. I didn't get to see my friends or my family as often. I was, again, horrendously sick up until like 25 weeks. I was super anxious because I didn't want to catch the virus. I didn't want my family to catch the virus. I didn't know how it would affect me, how it would affect the baby, how it would affect my husband. We didn't have a lot of information about COVID and how it affected pregnant women. So I did everything possible to kind of steer clear of people and potentially catching the virus. But at the same time, it came at the expense of my mental health because I was very sad, very lonely, very cheated from my pregnancy experience, unfortunately. With that being said, this brings me to tip number 2, and that is to check up on your mental health. Being pregnant in the first place can definitely be a stressful situation. To add a pandemic on top of that can literally amplify all of these horrible feelings that you've been feeling. That and of course hormones. Let's not forget about hormones, Jesus. It's very important at this point to kind of take a look and notice and recognize the signs of possible prenatal anxiety, maternal depression, all of these very awful emotions. Be in tune with that, and as soon as you feel them and you feel like your mood has been off, to really contact your healthcare provider and making sure that you talk about how you're feeling. There's more often talks about postpartum depression than prenatal depression, but prenatal depression is very real. There are definitely things that you can do to help improve your mood and kind of get you out of that rut. One of the things that I absolutely vouch for is joining a virtual mommy community. Oh my God. Listen, honestly speaking, this has literally changed my life. Being able to talk to other mothers or mothers-to-be that are literally going through this pandemic pregnant literally changed my whole life. Now you have a community of sisters that are non-judgmental, that are literally going through the same things that you, can walk you through their experience, that can give you advice, and literally here to support you. They didn't feel alone anymore. I'm constantly in communication with other mothers or mothers-to-be in terms of how are they dealing with certain situations when they're pregnant during COVID. And when I tell you the amount of love and support and encouragement and space to literally just vent about this sucking has really just made my pregnancy so much easier. And I really felt like I was a part of a community of women that love each other and support each other, and that's definitely helped my mood 1,000 times. Another thing that I was doing to help improve my mood during my pregnancy was staying active. As much as I physically could, I tried to go out and take walks here and there, do a couple of yoga poses to help with my pains, and really just try to get out of bed whenever I had the energy. Exercise just naturally releases good hormones anyways, so being more active and get your body moving will definitely help improve your mood. Also, don't be afraid to ask for help from your friends and family. If it means them taking your kids for a weekend so that you can just relax and not have to worry about them, having them help you clean that house to prepare for the baby, doing the groceries for you and dropping them off in front of your door. Don't be afraid to reach out. People are there and people are willing to help. As long as they take the precautionary measures to try to avoid the spread of COVID by washing their hands frequently, wearing a mask around you, keeping your distance, there are definitely things that they can do to really help you alleviate some of that stress. But again, I would like to emphasize that if ever you are experiencing some maternal depression, maternal anxiety, some stress or overwhelmness, please, please, please contact your primary health provider, your family doctor, or whoever's following you throughout your pregnancy, and hopefully they can give you the resources to help. Because COVID had shut down a lot of establishments and had implemented so many rules over the city when it shut down, I wasn't able to experience a lot of typical pregnancy events that I would have loved to. I unfortunately did not get a typical baby shower, but I was able to get a surprise drive-by baby shower organized by my lovely sister, who got all of my friends and families to literally drive up on my street, making the most noise and dropping gifts off at my front door and sending air kisses and hugs, and then making their way. Even though I didn't have the typical baby shower, this literally meant the world to me. So that was another great thing that came out of my COVID experience. Something that I wasn't expected, but definitely worth it. Another thing that I kind of had to change in my second trimester during my pregnancy and COVID was my maternity shoot. I actually didn't get a photographer. I got my sister to take pictures of me with her iPhone on a white wall and 3 outfits. One of them was my wedding veil. Another one was a black lacy bodysuit, and then just a plain nude dress. And I think that the pictures turned out great. I mean, they're not professionally made, but they were still simple and nice enough to kind of highlight my pregnancy at that time. All of that to bring me to tip number 3, and that is to manage your expectations. You're not going to have the typical pregnancy. You're not going to have your sister's baby shower or your coworker's maternity shoot. These things are just not going to happen. With the current situation, I think it's best for you to be just safe and healthy, and that's the main priority. There are definitely other things that you can do to still have those moments. You just have to be a little bit more creative about it. When it comes to baby showers, you can do a drive-by baby shower where people drive on your street and drop off gifts in front of your house. You could also have a Zoom baby shower as well, where people can actually buy things out of your registry and then have them delivered to your house. At this point, it's just going to be virtually. In terms of maternity shoots, you can do it at home. You can pull out your cell phone and a tripod and a remote control and just take your own damn pictures. Okay, they don't need to be super fancy. As long as you feel beautiful and you see your bump and you're excited in the pictures, that's literally all that matters. Other things that you can do as well for your maternity shoots is you can still hire a photographer as long as they respect the recommendations to help diminish the chances of you getting COVID. You don't have to do anything super extravagant. You can go outside where there's nobody and you and your partner can take pictures, or you can take pictures in your house as well. I had a good friend of mine that actually did maternity shoot in her house. It turned out fantastic. It was so intimate, it was super sexy, and they were so comfortable, and it was familiar to them. I think that that turned out to be such an amazing shoot. Another friend of mine who actually did an organized baby shower, so she sent out invitations to all of her friends and families to come at specific times so that she would have like a control amount of people passing by to visit her in her backyard at a time, and I thought that was such a fantastic idea. She had 2 people at the front manage people and make sure that they washed their hands before coming in. All of the chairs were spaced out so that they would respect the social distancing measures and regulations. We were still able to have such a good time at her baby shower. There are definitely things that you can do to still have the pregnancy experience. You just have to be a little bit creative about it. What's most important is that you are able to control what is controllable and that you and the baby are healthy and happy. Last but not least, let's get into the 3rd trimester. The 3rd trimester of my pregnancy was covering the month of April, May, and June. At that point, because we were coming so close to the date of the baby being born, I think that my anxiety started to rise up again a little bit more in terms of how is this going to affect my birth plan? How am I going to be giving birth to a baby during a pandemic? What is that going to mean? What is that going to look for us? As my medical appointments became more frequent, my husband wasn't allowed to come with me, which was very disheartening. Any type of imaging appointments, they weren't allowing anybody else in the room. But I still got a couple of pictures of his last ultrasounds, which was nice, but I would have preferred to have my husband there to support me and share this moment with me. You know, it's our first baby and it's just unfortunate that he wasn't there to share it with me. Which brings me to tip number 4, and that is to plan ahead as much as possible. Because COVID-19 is so unpredictable and things are constantly being updated and new informations are constantly being added to what we already know, it's very, very important for you to try to stay as organized as possible. Take the time to really clean your house, get the nursery ready, make sure you order stuff ahead of time in case there are delivery delays. Make sure that you have your postpartum essentials and newborn essentials on deck as well, because those are the things you really, really, really don't want to miss out on. Having continual conversations with your partner or with your support person in regards to your birth plan, and making sure that you have a plan B, C, and D to follow in case your birth plan does not come out as planned is very important. The last thing you want to do is making last minute decisions stressed out, tired, exhausted, anxious, and rushed, especially regarding the birth of your child. Alright guys, I hope that these tips and tricks have been really helpful for you and will help you manage your pregnancy, and hopefully it minimizes your stress and it gets you a little bit more prepared. I really want to hear about your stories and how you were managing your pregnancy during COVID, so please, please, please comment down below. I would love to have a conversation and hear your story out. Don't forget to check out my socials and follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss out any other videos of me literally just being a new mom, a new wife, and just a girl trying to navigate life. Oh my god, that just rhymed. That was good. I just did that. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.